Hello YouTube, Warfighter MTO channel. It's a rainy, sleety day right now, so can't really go outside and play in the park with the kid or do much of anything at all. So I thought I'd bring out some of my first line and second line setups, my personal ones, and explain why I have them set up that way, pros, cons, makes and models, stuff like that. So first I'll start with my what's referred to as a first line setup, and that's everything that's on your belt is what that's referred to. Right here, this is what I call my war belt or your battle belt, some people will call it, and it's an ATS molle belt with I think a 215 gear cobra belt in there. It's not a stiff belt, it's a flexible belt. It's not super flexible, but it's not super stiff either. It's about medium. And it works pretty good. A lot of guys like to run really stiff belts. I don't. I think that they kind of get uncomfortable, and you know, I actually like, and I've never had a, you know, a lot of guys say if you don't run a stiff belt, you know, these not as stiff belts won't support the weight of a pistol. Well, it does. This exact rig, I've ran exactly how it is set up on 2 deployments to Afghanistan. Exactly how it's set up right now, same pouches, same everything. It's exactly how I have ran it, and I've never had any issues with how I've ran it. It has worked very well for me. So I'll just start off with a strong side and just work my way around the belt. Okay, first off, these are the only holsters I run for combat use. It's Safari ALS. This one's for a G1730. This is for a 34/17 with a X300 and a RMR. My pistol doesn't have an RMR, but this is the only holster they made for a 34 with an X300. These are specially made for a specific unit. These are pretty uncommon, pretty rare to find. If you do, they're pretty expensive unless you were issued one. But and on it, I have the drop, the UBL drop adapter with the old school Safariland. Let's see if I can do it one-handed. The old school Safariland forks. Okay, the holster, holster comes off just like this, and it's on a little fork system, and you can loosen it and position it where you need to. I like to have mine straight up and down, but that's the holster, and it has this IR reducing signature stuff glued to it. It's in multicam, obviously. It's a very good holster. They modified it from the standard ALS's, so it has actually a smoother draw. This is pretty much the nicest holster money can buy. I mean, you would be hard pressed to find one of these, and I was lucky enough to get one for free. So, and like I said, I just have the receiving plate on it with a drop UBL. Puts the gun exactly where I like it, not too low, not too high. It doesn't flop around. You see some guys will put an elastic, quick release strap around here to keep it on their leg. You know, I personally have never had a problem with this thing jiggling and moving around when I'm running. It stays where I need it. I mean, there's a little bit of play, but not so much to where it's extremely uncomfortable or extremely detrimental. So, been moving along. This is just an ATS tearaway blow kit. I usually keep a pair of med shears on there. Usually go through about a pair of med shears once a deployment. It usually breaks. Just on Velcro. It has a pull handle and you can rip it off. I like these IFIAKs because you can rip them off. They can be ripped off by you or whoever else, you know, is wanting to work on you and needs to get to your IFIAK. They can just rip it off, open it up, access the contents. It's a very strong IFIAK. This one I ran for a deployment. You know, really nice IFIAK setup. Cannot recommend it enough. It's strong. It's built well. You know, I've ran the shit out of it, and it looks almost brand new. You know, the buckle's scratched up a little bit from banging up against stuff, but other than that, you know, pretty good. And I can just keep a pair of medical shears right behind it. You know, you can use, I guess, like a little retaining device, lanyard thing to keep them on there, but this is such a disposable item. You know, if I lose it, oh well, I go, you know, go get another one from the medic or whatever. You know, they're very common to run across. Then coming across behind that, I keep my multi-tool. And, you know, I'm not a big knife guy, but, you know, I think everybody should have a multi-tool on them. You know, it's just self-explanatory right there. You never know when you're going to need a multi-tool. And one other thing I want to say, you know, the position of the IFIAK in relation to the pistol holster, that does not affect the draw whatsoever. I have a very clean, smooth draw stroke with this setup. The IFIAK does not inhibit the draw in any way or matter. Then moving back along, I keep a small little GP pouch on the back of it. Remove my name tape, and usually inside of it I keep like 3 items. I'll keep I don't even know what I have in there now, it's been so long, but I keep a pair of gloves. I got an old ass beat up pair of Oakley gloves in there right now. I keep a pair of gloves, I'll keep a thing of CLP, a little bottle of CLP, and then I'll keep one of those super small IR beacon things. You know, just the really small clear ones that take like a 3 volt or something. I'll put one of those in there. And you know, maybe some like double AAA, you know, 1, 2, 3 batteries in there, and that'll be it. That's pretty much, you know, it's a GP pouch. I got batteries in there, CLP, and my gloves. So that's what stays in there. Okay. Moving more to the left, I have my dump pouch, and this is a very indisposable item, to say at the least. I've been quoted many times saying this is like the most important piece of kit I owned. I wouldn't go as far to say that, but in reality, I mean, this is really useful, because there's been so many times where at like last minute notice I've been handed a different weapon system and I've had no way to carry ammunition, like specifically a 40 mil system, and I don't have any. You know, if my kit isn't set up at 40 mil, then, you know, how am I going to carry it? I can put them in my cargo pockets, that's not going to work. The pockets will probably rip because, you know, they're pretty cheap. Or I can have a dump pouch, and this dump pouch will hold. I've literally had to put like 10, you know, HEDP rounds in this. When it's kind of sucks, because, you know, when you're running, it's flopping around on you and hitting your leg, but it's going to secure them. It's going to secure them right. You know, not only that, empty magazines. You know, I'm a big advocate of not putting empty magazines back on your kit. Your empty magazines need to be completely separate from your any sort of loaded magazines, because you might get them mixed up. You know, if you put them back in the ammunition pouch, who knows what you do, what you think, and you might grab an empty magazine, put it in your weapon, then you're having to reload your weapon all over again. You're back to, you know, ground zero on that. So that's why I like having a dump pouch to put miscellaneous stuff you find or need, you know, whether it be a, you know, an initiating device, or a, you know, HEDP rounds, a smoke grenade, empty magazines, whatever. You have that ability to put that in there. Very indisposable. This right here, this is just the issued Eagle Industries molle kydex pouch. I run that. I don't always run a mag in it, depending on my kit setup, because I may not be able to draw it. On my last one, I actually could draw it, and I kind of used it. It was kind of my speed reload. But I have it on there too, for kind of like when I'm playing around or just shooting at the range, or doing a competition, a 2 or 3, or not a 3 gun, but like a 2 gun, a multi-gun competition, and I have to carry a rifle reload, and I could just throw this on there, so I don't have to, you know, put a whole bunch of stuff on my belt. I already got something that's semi set up for it, and that's how I run this. But depending on what kind of armor carrier I'm wearing, I don't always run a mag in this. And then here, I have a, you know, this is a First Spear kydex, you know, triple mag, Glock mag, mag carrier. That's a copy off the Eagle Industries unit. I don't usually put 3 mags in it. I think I traded somebody for it, which is why it's a 3 mag one. I probably normally only run a 2 mag one. But, you know, it's a decent pouch. I do not like it as better as the Eagle Industries unit. It is way too tight of a fit. I've left fully loaded magazines in it for months. I put it in front of the sun to let it heat up with magazines in it, and it is super tight, and it really kind of inhibits the drawing of the magazines out of the pouch. So I'm still on the fence about this one. Normally I don't. Hey monster. I don't put all the magazines in there all the way. I'll only put them in there like 2/3 of the way or even half of the way, so that way it doesn't have as much retention on them. I mean, this has a lot of retention. I took off the bungee cords because this thing has so much retention. Having a bungee cord is kind of just redundant. So, the Eagle rifle mag kydex, that has perfect retention, and I've had this one for years and years and years and years, and it actually probably is. I probably need to get a new one because it's starting to lose retention on it, but as of right now, it still works. So that's just a general guideline of how I run my first line setup. Just real basic overview of how I run it, why I run it. This is my main setup in Afghanistan. Obviously you're gonna have to run a little bit heavier depending on your mission. You don't know what you're gonna need, but this did everything I was needed to do, and you can always scale things down. But I find for like 99.9%, I got my pistol, I have my pistol ammunition, I have an ability to carry, spare batteries, CLP, I have my gerber, I have my IFIAK. I don't like running my IFIAK on my kit or on my armor carrier because it just gets too bulky. This isn't as bulky, it doesn't make me stick out as far, and that ATS IFIAK, that's a pretty big IFIAK. If you put that on your armor carrier, that thing's sticking out a good 6 inches. So that's why I like to run it on my first line on my belt, because I think it makes it more low profile, and that's what I'm all about. So that's my review of my first line rig, my first line kit. I'll post a beneath the video. I'll have a list of all the parts used in it, and I hope this is a good little bit of information for anybody that wants to create a first line setup for combat use.